Hello, everyone, and welcome to Living in the Limelight. I'm your host, Jay Huller. As a quick reminder, please follow us on Instagram at Living in the Limelight Show and check out our website at livinginthelimelight.com. And of course, you can find our podcasts at almost all of the major streaming services. Every week, we feature another conversation with a stage performer where we delve into what makes them tick and hopefully get a little glimpse into some of the behind-the-scenes action. Perfect Animal is an Atlanta-based indie rock band that just recently formed in October of 2022, although the musical roots for the members run deep. They spend lots of time creating and recording new music and have an ambitious release schedule of a new song roughly every 6 weeks. The band prides itself on producing music that uses raw emotions and real-life experiences that surely will resonate with their listeners. Look for their upcoming EP to be released on January 20th, 2023, titled Handmade. Let's welcome Eric and David of Perfect Animal to the program.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, Eric, how are you? You here with David?
Yeah, David and I are both on the line. How you doing?
Excellent.
How's it going?
Doing great. Welcome to Living in the Limelight. It's so glad to have you guys on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I would love to start. We always like to start with kind of the backstory of music and performance, and you may have to speak for the other guys if you know their stories, or at least talk from your perspective. But like, what has driven you from day one to do this, like to be on stage, to make new music every month or 6 weeks? Just what's the passion in there? Where can you like source it? Can you think of an origin story for you?
So this is Eric talking. And,
okay.
When I was growing up, like I was kind of like a jock kid, to be honest. Like I did all the sports and stuff, and eventually, like I just didn't like all the authoritarian figures in sports. So I started writing a bunch of poetry, and so I guess you could say that my creative journey stemmed from creative writing. And then when I was a senior in high school, I always wanted to know what it felt like to play live. So my high school had this like field day thing, like battle of the bands type situation.
Yeah.
And me and my buddies got a band together, and I learned how to play bass. And like I remember, like a couple weeks before that, my fingers were bleeding, so I didn't have any calluses and shit. And we got up there. I was really nervous, but it was just such an adrenaline rush that I fell in love with playing live. And then kind of as time went on, I would write poetry independently of learning music, and then eventually I combined them both into writing songs because, lyrics are definitely the most expressive form of creative writing, the most satisfying. And, I think once you start chasing it, you never kind of end. So that's my kind of backdrop, and David has his own.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been playing music since early high school.
Mm-hmm.
I actually did a similar thing where we went to the Battle of the Bands. It was my first time on stage, and we actually had to audition for it and like send in like a videotape of us.
Yeah.
We were like a metal band, and I was doing screaming vocals, and we just conveniently left that part out of it.
Gotcha.
And when we go up, I go and do the screaming vocals, and I remember the lead theater guy or whatever that was leading the whole thing. Like, I knew a bunch of theater kids, and they said that his jaw just dropped.
You actually, wait, so you veered off from the audition. You took the audition and went like the total 180 when you did the performance. Once you got approved, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do the real thing, and then just threw the screamo at them. Is that the way it worked?
No, it was more like we kept it out in the video just like, kind of on purpose to make sure that we got in.
Okay, yeah. And then the full performance was just something they just really weren't expecting.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but it's just the adrenaline, performing on stage. It's just a lot of fun.
So, yeah, let's take kind of maybe those two answers put together. So you guys seem to be really prolific. I was looking at Facebook just a little bit ago, and the plan of one of the posts was we have 12 songs in the hopper, and we're ready to go. We're going to release one every month or every 6 weeks. So there's that creative genesis of the lyrics of the songs. And then I'm assuming, and fill in the gaps for me, the guys get together and say, well, this would sound good with this and this would sound good with that. Is when you're on stage, aside from the feedback you get from the audience, how much is it like, do you like step back from yourself and go, well, man, this is something we created. This is from nothing, and here it is, and it's being accepted. And what's the vibe with like the feeling good of having produced something and it's being used in the moment, besides just getting the claps and whatever? It's like these kids, they're digging this. Like, is that a really cool feeling?
There really are kind of two portions of music. It's like the most satisfying to me is when you hear something in your head and you're able to go into a studio and really recreate pretty much exactly what you hear in your head in a studio recording. Then there's the other portion where you get to deliver that to other people to make them feel how you felt in the moment you wrote the song.
Uh-huh.
But in terms of like, being prolific or whatever, I guess one of the principles of our band is I think in order to be a good quote unquote creative person, you have to pretty much constantly engage your creative brain. Like, it's a muscle.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, or I've heard a lot of people say things like, oh, I just kind of wait until basically God taps me on the head and fully forms songs in my brain, and I deliver that instantaneously. But I just think that's incorrect. Like, there is a portion of your brain that is active when you're creative, and the more you utilize it, the more songs you make. So if you kind of, you kind of say, hey man, we're going to go, record X number of songs this year, going to go do X, Y, Z, and constantly engage that, I think the better you get at writing. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it kind of does. It kind of makes me think of a follow-up though. So for the writing process in general for you guys, and Eric, are you the primary, since your source of poetry, you're the...
we all write songs. It's I don't know.
You're definitely, he's the one that writes all the lyrics and he arranges the songs, and then we just put in input to in other ideas to
okay, gotcha.
Hopefully improve.
It sounds like
basically, there's I have like over 2,000 recordings on my phone. I constantly like make ideas, and when I want to put something into the band, I basically just pick 5 or so, and just like we kind of mess with them at band practice, and it's just like, I don't know, what do y'all like, and like what stands out, and generally like 1 or 2 are like, that's definitely it, what we should be working on. And then once they like the idea or whatever, we all like the idea, then we make what's called a cycle, or our band calls a cycle, which is just verse, chorus, transition that kind of has interchangeable 3 parts, and we kind of structure a song using those original 3 parts. But we all write the songs. It's like, I come with a lot of ideas just because that's what I enjoy doing. But
so what are those?
It's just the idea. It's like the whole band writes everything.
Yeah, we're all adding our own little touches on it.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a real collaborative process. Once there's like that treasure trove of, stuff to choose from, it's like, I like this, I like that. And then the conversation happens, in the musical conversation with, well, let me play this, let me try that. I can barely speak with any authority to all this, but I did play music years and years ago. I was a drummer, and I kind of know that vibe, but I wanted to go back kind of to Eric's, I don't want to, maybe the best word is muse. Like, do you consciously, because you said you exercise it as a muscle, do you sit down and say, okay, for 2 hours, I'm going to think about my day, I'm going to think about what's inspiring to me? Or is it just like you're doing your stuff during the day and you're at the drive-through or whatever, and then when something happens, you just jump on it right away and assume maybe it's going to have life later or not, but you're going to document it?
To be honest, so, every day I play music and I work on music. That's kind of a given, but honestly, like, the best songs or the best licks or phrasings or whatever come from really when I'm not thinking about it at all. Like, I think I write the best when I have a really busy day at work or something, and like it's almost like my brain wants to fight against that and like go to the creative fun land and like pops out like good ideas more so that way.
Gotcha.
So it's like I regularly every day, yes, I exercise my creative brain. But it's kind of weird in the sense that the best things usually come when you're not thinking about it. Honestly.
Yeah, that's good. So let's talk about maybe like one of your songs, "Warm Twin Bed," and maybe track that back to where you were first thinking about some of the phrasings for that or some of the music for that, and when the band first started talking about it, and how did that one evolve?
That just started with the Moog.
Yeah, we
were playing with the Moog. We were just playing with the Moog, and that's just where that one started. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Lyrics, I'm sure you had already written, just adapted them to what we were doing.
So, I mean, yeah, man, actually that started because David came. I've just bought a Moog grandmother synth, which is it's like this really cool all-in-one synth that has a million different ways you could play it. And David came over and we were doing something else. I think we were actually shooting the handmade cover art that day. I don't remember.
That's what we did.
And we found this cool ass tone, and we kind of pieced together that intro, that dum bum 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 bum.
Yeah, that was all the intro.
Yeah.
So and then I guess a lot of the leads and stuff for that came in later on.
Yeah. So I think the coolest part of writing that song was we kind of started getting it fleshed out. We had the chord structures down, and like. We had just gotten Justin in as the drummer, and like it was one of our first rehearsals at the rehearsal space that we use now. It's called Rehearse Live LLC out in Norcross. Okay. But the first time we did that, like when it sinks into the guitar portion of the verse out of the Moog, David hit this fucking lick that just like, it's such a good lick. The intro lick after the lick after the verse lick is so fucking good. I love it so much. And just put this lazy beat on it, and Alex just is always a freak with bass. And it has such a good blend in it. And like when we heard that, we were like, damn, all right. Yeah.
We got something.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
But yeah, so that's kind of how it went. And like the lyrics are very much about, relationships and vivid memories of relationships.
I will say, like towards the end of the Warm Twin Bed, for the solo portion at the very end of the song, we came in to make it sound huge. Like I guess we just kind of came up with the very end of it at the studio with the I guess it just sounds, I don't know how to explain it. It just sounds impactful. Like the bulk of it was already there, but we added in some. I guess
there was like an underlying, in order to amplify the lead at the end, we used basically the octave relationships.
Yeah, and just kind of used octaves, and I don't try to make like a big sounding.
Yeah, we picked
finish to the song.
They weren't the root. I don't think they were root notes. Maybe they were.
I don't remember.
But it amplifies the ending section and the guitar solo at the end. But yeah, I mean, the feeling of the song is very much like the actual intimacy of a relationship versus like the stuff that people usually talk about. Is all right, getting a little out of hand.
No, actually,
the main point. There's a lot to talk about, but
yeah.
I think that a lot of lyricists, in terms of the lyrics of the song, when they sit down to write, a lot of times they want to try to sound like they're heroes or sound like something they heard on Spotify or whatever.
Right.
They try to sound like somebody else, and so they start using like descriptive terminology and kind of ideas they hear in other songs to like describe something that really should be personal. So it's like, I think with that song in particular, where I really tried to make it come from life experience and be really intimate and personable instead of kind of utopic. And like, the first verse is like basically depicts a relationship or a couple going to criminal records in Atlanta. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, but I've been here in Georgia for many, many years.
Oh, what area do you live in?
We're in North Canton, so I don't know if you know Waleska, but it's little town
Yeah,
north of
Waleska.
Canton.
Actually, yeah, I played music with a guy who was born in Waleska.
Oh, really?
Yeah, isn't that over by Jasper, right?
Yeah, not quite. It's sort of between. Jasper's a little further north. I'll say that.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you've heard. Have you heard of Criminal Records and Little Five?
I have. Yeah, I've been to Atlanta several
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
So, like the first verse is just kind of depicting like a relationship or a couple going to Criminal Records and picking out vinyls, and then the second verse is about a very real aspect of relationships is sex and like depicting kind of how sex feels. I use like smoking menthol cigarettes and like looking at porn magazines. It's like very lustful.
All right.
That is an element of a relationship is lust
Mm-hmm.
to some extent. It eventually turns into love. But like it kind of starts out lustful. And then the last one is I guess it feels like middle November when you smell like burning leaves. And we're laying in a warm twin bed. I really want to be. I want to be all the things that you can remember. The way it feels to talk to me. So stop faking all your long drawn plans of what you really want to be. So like in a relationship, it's almost like I guess like how it starts is you always want to remember it a lot of times. I guess is the point. So it's like I want to be all the things you remember, and I want to be, and vice versa. So that's kind of like the innocent little thing behind the song, on top of the sex and the cigarette and Playboy.
Well, no, that actually is, for a bizarre reason, is a perfect segue to something on your Spotify bio that I pulled out that you self-describe your message and the tenets of the band as knife to bone. And that phrase jumped right out at me. Like, okay, so yeah, these guys are serious about what they're talking about. And you just depicted that through that song. So tell me more about that approach, if you can. You sort of, not necessarily contrast to other artists, but like, why is that super important for you to deliver the raw emotions that we feel?
Because I think that, to constitute good art, it really has to be as close as you can get to like human emotion or human experience. And it has to be, you have to hit that nerve. And I think when it doesn't, it just isn't true enough, because it has to be true to your humanity. Actually, like I was in one band where somebody didn't like the way I wrote because I was too intense. They were like, I just want to make happy music, but I was just like,
okay,
I'm not really that happy. Like I want to be raw and real and like depict things that are real, and like so it's an aspirational thing, and hopefully we achieve that through our music. But
I think you absolutely do, and I think it's an admirable trait. And it's something you can always hold on to. It's like, this is the way we want to put our music, and we're going to stand behind it. And you'll always have the people who will connect with that, as long as they understand it.
Yeah, and I feel like some of the best songs I've ever heard, you hear these lyrics, like, and you're just like, it almost hurts because it's so true and real and like personal. And you're like, damn, that's just like, you feel it out of your very core of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of music we would like to make. Hopefully we make it. But
yeah, and I think it's amazing that you could take. I'm thinking back to that very beginning, the Moog part, and it's almost like a heartbeat, and it's setting the tone for the song, and you can rhythmically, in addition to lyrically, reflect those emotions. And I think you guys are on a perfect track to getting that out to the world. So speaking of getting out into the world, I want to talk about California too, which is predating Warm Twin Bed. I watched the video today.
Did it freak you out a little bit?
It was a little dark, but it was also, it's just I want to say it was attractive in the sense of like what's coming next, and it kept my attention. It drew me in the entire time. And I thought that was just super creative, because there's some things that'll, in this modern generation, like, oh, what happened over there? But my eyes were fixated. I can tell you that 100%. So can you give us kind of a little bit of background on that song and the video, or anything you want to share with that?
You want to go do it?
I don't know what to say right now. I mean, with the music videos, I think. Yeah. So with the music, I do the music videos. So kind of going into them, like I've been doing photography and videography stuff for probably about 4 years now, and it's just, I guess with that one, I mean, the concept was all behind, Eric, but shooting it was definitely, like, I could tell, like, with black figure and everything, it needed to be kind of scary.
Yeah.
Now, I was actually thinking about it the other day when I was at my friend's house and the black figure reminds me of, like, the Christmas or the Christmas Ghost of Future. Yeah. From the live action. I was like, it's like, oh man. But
that is
I
true.
guess, like, I just wanted it to really, I guess, veer on that subject.
Yeah. No, I
It's
actually
intense.
absolutely did.
And I think, with all the music videos, it's just fun. Like, it's just fun to go down random rabbit holes. Like, that's a very weird video.
It is a very weird video. We have some pretty weird ideas for those videos.
Like, I don't know, it would be boring if we just got up there and played behind a graffiti wall.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because
it's
people
more
could,
fun to
see you live, right?
Not
That's
that
just
we
see you
won't
live.
do that in the future.
Yeah. It's just more fun to be like, all right, there's a demon in the woods, right?
And he's digging in the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess, like, because you had a whole idea with it, like, with you basically become the black figure.
Yeah. So, like, I guess the concept behind it is that this, like, demonic spirit is, like, trapped in these woods and has been forever, and he attracts the dude to come into the woods and, like, you know what, you ever watched Harry Potter?
Yeah.
You know what a Horcrux is?
I do.
Like the
yes.
Horcruxes. So the little bunny that he digs up is like a Horcrux and, like, or something else.
Horcrux.
Yeah.
Horcrux, yeah.
And so when he digs it up, they switch places, and now the dude who digs it up is trapped in the woods, and the other guy's free. I don't know. It was fun.
Got you.
How it relates to California lyrics, I don't think it does at all.
Well,
in a general sense.
But it was a fun video to do for it.
Yeah, I don't see the California Board of Tourism picking that up as their promo to go into the redwoods, probably. But certainly, certainly it has its place, and it's definitely artistic. And that's another thing, like, so when appreciation or when fans of your music go, okay, God, I want to check out this video because you guys are releasing videos too. I think that's the plan, is to release a video at the same time as the song, or roughly around the same time. So a lot of videos are going to be coming our way.
Music release.
Okay. That's like, oh my gosh, is that what they were thinking? And so it engages that internal dialogue of them talking to you and your thoughts, and then they get to think about the song even a whole different perspective. So I don't think how you could go wrong with a music video.
Yeah, and generally the song is about transformation. Like, it's about going from our last band into this band.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the video, the guy transforms into the demon. It's very loose concept, loose relationship. But, yeah.
Yeah, I think that at least the Warm Twin Bed music video lines up a little better with the lyrics.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so I know you guys work, because we scheduled this for after work hours, so this music is not a full-time business yet for you, but, like, if you could have that crystal ball and chuck those 9 to 5s and do music 24/7, what would you imagine this band? Where would you be going? What would you be doing? What venues? I noticed you've played Smith's Old Bar, which is a great venue. Where can you foresee your future? Where do you guys want to go?
So at least I'll talk for myself on this one. This is David. But I mean, I already work from home, and I guess for my kind of job, I could probably, do music 24/7 and still, hold a job as long as I have, internet connection.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's just like, even, they make like Starlink for that, and all that. Not that I'd be able to do it in a tour bus all the time, but I'd probably be able to do enough to, hold down my position. And
I think really success is just, like, kind of just doing whatever you want. And it's like, I don't know if I would want my entire life to just be living in a tour bus and doing that.
Yeah, I don't really want to live in a
I
tour
think
bus forever.
like my favorite band is The Cure, and Robert Smith. You know, he has this shtick where he's like, "Oh, this is every album's their last album. We'll never record again. We'll never go on." But his point is that you have to build up life experiences in order to write good songs. So you have to engage in life, whether that's work or relationships or everyday life. You can't just be detached on a tour bus or whatever and create meaningful music. I just don't think so. So, I mean, the goal is just like, if we want to go on tour, let's go on tour. If we want to record, let's record. If we just want to chill and work and like whatever, do that.
Pretty much.
You know, a lot of people talk about, you know, I think people are really sold on the dream of touring.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of misplaced. I understand where they're coming from in the sense that, that in a glorified sense, of course you want to go be Zeppelin and ride on the.
But in a realistic sense, you're four sweaty guys in a van.
Going to Oklahoma to make $20 on Wednesday. It's not like how I live my life, to be honest with you. And so it's just like being, you know, if I had it my way, I would just want to dictate what I want to do when I want to do it. And like as soon as like the meaning starts going away from our songs, then I wouldn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. And it seems, I mean, I've never been in that position, and I've only talked to a few people who are embedded in that situation, but the external pressures when it is 24/7 for you,
it'll kill it.
Yeah,
I mean, could. For me, my goal is like when I die, I want to have a good body of music to like be proud of. That's really the only goal. Like whatever happens in between now and then is just kind of fate and like whatever. But as long as I'm proud of it and like there's a big quantity of it, then I'll be happy.
Well, you're headed in the right direction. It's certainly ambitious. I love that the plan you laid out with the number of songs already, and because you guys having sort of this new genesis of the band with a couple of changeovers, I think it's super exciting. A lot of bands that I talk to and people I talk to, like, like kind of like what you guys said before, is like, when the muse strikes, I'll have a few songs or whatever. You're hardcore. You're like, we're doing this, but you're also doing, you're doing your jobs and you're living life. And that's kind of like the next question I love to ask sometimes is balancing it all. So when you're really, really itching, you're at work and you're really, really itching to do some music, and then you've got some maybe family things going on at home. Is it super difficult? Because some of us, and maybe the people listening to this podcast, some of us are just like, we've got our job and we have our families, but we don't have that like third big thing, and you guys do. So is it hard to manipulate and keep all those balls in the air?
Yeah, but you just got to prioritize the things as they come in front of you. Like socially, you know.
I mean, if it means enough to you, you'll figure out a way to make the time.
Yeah. Like we do it every day, and like I enjoy doing it every day. And a lot of times that means that I can't do social things, which is fine because my favorite part of my social life is hanging out with my band, my boys, dog.
Gotcha.
But it's hard. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's hard when you're tired from work and you get home and you're like, damn, I don't feel like doing the live from the bathrooms or like promoting the stuff online or whatever. But if you just kind of make yourself do it for half an hour, then you go, all right,
it's done.
Because at the end of the day, like anything, I think the biggest truth in life and like really like how you can go achieve things, you kind of just pick a couple things that are important to you and you work at it consistently every day, and the cumulative effect of like putting 30 minutes in every day, just at a minimum, and sometimes that jumps to like 5 hours, sometimes it's one. You cumulatively compile that experience in time, you will get to where you want to go, whatever that is. Like, the cumulative effect of effort is what's important in life, because if you pick a goal, you will get there if you just try it every day.
Yeah, that's a super healthy attitude, and I love the regularity of it, because some of us, and it's great timing too. This podcast is going to be released at the beginning of the year, so these New Year's resolutions that everyone seems to have, it's like, I'm going to do this, but if you just keep in mind, if you can keep it consistent and keep it solid, you can achieve almost basically anything you want. I love that message.
Like, have you ever heard of that? What's that thing that's like if you spend 10,000 hours on something, you master it?
Yeah,
Right?
it's Bruce
like
Lee
that.
is something like I'd rather practice the same punch 10,000 times than 10,000 different punches, because when that one punch comes that you've practiced 10,000 times, look out.
Yeah. If you just like throw in 30 minutes towards that 10,000 every day, you get there, dog.
Absolutely. Well, you guys want to talk about gear for a little bit? Because I've had some singers on recently, and they was like, "Yeah, I've got a microphone I use or whatever." But in your questionnaire, you guys had some gear items, and one thing that jumped off the page for me was Rickenbacker, and so talking basses. I don't know if you know that this podcast is basically named after the Rush song "Limelight" and the phrase in there, "living in the limelight." Yeah, I'm a huge Rush fan.
Best bassist of all time.
Oh yeah, so Geddy Lee Rickenbacker has been his primary bass forever.
Our bassist his name's Alex, and he is obsessed. Like we were talking about how you got to become a musician. His dad was a touring musician in LA for a while. He's from LA. He only recently moved to Georgia in the past, I think, 3 years ago or something.
Alex can just pick up on anything.
Yeah. He's one of those people you could be like, "Hey, Alex, play like an F sharp, blah blah blah." And he'll just go, like it's really weird.
He's tone perfect.
It's insane. But he has so many basses. He loves flipping basses. So he'll go on like Reverb.com or whatever Facebook Marketplace, and he'll go find deals and he'll flip those basses. So he has I think he has 12 basses.
Oh,
legit.
Wow.
He loves Fender. His Rickenbacker is like his most expensive. Then he has like 3 P basses. He's got a jazz bass. He's got a Fender Mustang, which is really cool with flat wounds on it. And he recently bought some weird. He has a Stingray, and he got some 6-string bass. Yeah. But he's like that kind of person who's just like, we're all gear whores, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we like our gear.
But David's got a really cool setup too, if you want to tell him that.
Yeah, talk about your setup.
Okay, so I put together a MIDI capable pedal board where it all just goes to like a MIDI box, and I save presets for each song and save them on different pages on my on the MIDI box, and I just set up set list for everything, and that's a lot of fun. I also have it going to stereo in my in my orange amp. It's got 2 10s in it, and it has the stereo effects loop.
Yeah.
So that kind of allows me to get a live stereo effect with just one amp, which I really like. And then I'm also mostly playing a Reverend. I think it's a Warhawk. Yeah, Reverend Warhawk and a Gretsch DVD. And I've got a 92 Telecaster, a Mexican-made Telecaster.
Nice.
And you put Nashville strings on them. Yeah, which sound really cool. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And I have. I just recently spent an assload of money on a Yamaha AC5R acoustic, and that thing's awesome.
It's like the nicest guitar I've ever played. It's too nice.
I definitely paid the money for it. But I also have a Jaguar and a Fender Deluxe reverb, and then our drummer has Mapex.
I don't know too much about drum.
I think he has a Mapex.
Yeah, Mapex is a decent brand.
You're a drummer, right?
Yeah. Well, from years ago.
What do you have?
I have electronic drums now because once we had children, I lost my drum room.
Oh no!
Yeah, it became
they're pretty
the nursery.
badass nowadays, though.
They are.
Those electronic kits are awesome.
Yeah, and you can almost fold the whole thing up against the wall if you need the room for something, or you throw it in the back of the car. Have these huge shells and
just tracking. Like I heard somebody track an electronic kit. It sounded great. It honestly is like nowadays you can barely tell the difference, to be honest.
Yeah, it's more visual than anything. If you're not looking at the drummer, forget it. It's hard to tell. Yeah, absolutely. So cool. All right, so we've got an EP coming up. I think I saw January. What's the date in January that Handmaid's dropping?
January 20th.
January 20th.
It is the 20th.
What are we looking to see on that or hear on that?
Oh, this is our acoustic EP coming like early. It's an acoustic EP.
This is when we were still in our previous band, and like there was kind of conflict in the band at the time, and I felt like I couldn't really do everything that I wanted to do in the band. And one day, I got a phone call, and like one of my friends from high school took her life, and like it was just really sad. And like that same day, I called our producer Marcus, who's at Pink Bus Productions in Atlanta. But I called him and I set up a studio session, and I tracked all 4 songs that day on the EP. And then Alex came that same day and recorded his bass, and then David eventually did later. But it's very like all those songs are very pure, and like it's really like a gift for her.
Okay,
like,
gotcha.
In honor of her. And one of the songs is called Happy Birthday. It's very directly about her. I wrote it the day before I went into the studio, and she took her life the day after her birthday, and it was just very sad.
Oh my goodness.
And another one of the songs is called Cat. It's a very sad EP, definitely. It's got, I guess, Fritter's beat.
I mean, Fritter's
Painful Erotica.
And Painful Erotica is fun.
Yeah.
That's like, that'll definitely be the the hit song probably.
Yeah. And so Painful Erotica is about there's a lot of people in relationships that I think that there's one really dominant person and one really submissive person in a lot of relationships.
Absolutely.
And it's almost like those personality types can't really be in a relationship without like a dominant person like that, almost narcissist, can't be in a relationship with somebody who's not completely submissive to them. And like the submissive person kind of likes the other person to be super dominant. And so the song's just kind of about that relationship and what I've noticed in people. And I always joke around and say, hey, this song's about BDSM. It uses BDSM like language to convey that idea.
Mm-hmm.
So people, I think people think I love BDSM, which is pretty hilarious. But yeah, and then the other song is called Cadillac Baby. That's about the deterioration of a relationship through the eyes of a cat.
Interesting.
Yes.
And then Fritter's just like an instrumental.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But I'm really excited for it to come out. I don't know, very satisfying. I don't know.
Yeah, we've had it done for probably 8 or 9 months now.
Yeah.
So we're just, it's a convenient drop while we're working on other songs and getting all those recorded and doing music videos.
Got you. Yeah, I admire you for digging into the to the story behind your friend and not because this reminds me of what we were talking about earlier and just throwing it back, but some artists might just take the topic of suicide and write about it. But instead, this is a personal relationship and experience, and you did Knife to Bone. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna dig in here and say, I haven't even read the lyrics, but the way you've depicted and described it, I know I can almost imagine what's forthcoming. And it's just admirable to know that people are willing to put that out there. And I'm not going to put something out that's just going to be a commercial success. I'm going to do this riff and this. No, I want to write what I feel, and I'm going to put some music to it. And hope you appreciate it. But this is coming from me, and that's a great direct form of art. And I hope really for way down the future that your fans and then people who come to become your fans really latch onto that core, because it's an unbreakable bond that they would have as fans to your music. And even though it's super painful, I admire you guys for digging in there and doing that.
Yeah, thank you. And I remember hearing this interview with Tom Petty where he was like, he was kind of older. I think he was doing that Wildflowers album, and he was basically, what he said was, he's like, for a couple albums prior to Wildflowers, he stopped like writing about his personal life because it like, almost like, I guess he didn't want to give pieces of himself away in his songs anymore. And then, you know, Wildflowers was a return to him like giving himself into his music. And it's just like, it's got to come from that. And if it doesn't come from yourself and who you are and your experiences and friendships and relationships, then it kind of is inherently fake. I hate to say that, but like it kind of is to some extent.
No, I see exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just got to come from your heart. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. This has been a great conversation. I wanted to kind of finish off with the best way, like we can follow you guys. I know you're on Spotify and probably all the streaming services, and you've got a Facebook page. Just kind of throw it all out there as to the best way you'd love for fans to interact with you. Maybe some upcoming shows that are maybe penciled in, or just the best way. Because once this comes out and people start latching on to you guys, we want to be able to grab you some fans.
Okay, so yeah, we'll probably be doing shows early this next year, hopefully before the spring, but.
The best way to reach us or follow us is Instagram.
Instagram, it's popping. Our Instagram is popping all the time.
The gram is busting. Jay. The gram is busting.
But yeah, we have everything else. Like we'll be posting stuff on YouTube as well, a lot. And then we're all on the normal platforms: Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want to find us, and then as well as Spotify.
Yeah, just Perfect Animal Band. Yeah, fairly consistent with that name.
We'll have our own website, within the next month.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was going to be one. I tried to dial that in first, but I'm glad there's one in the.
Technically, the website's already up, not finished.
Gotcha. So I didn't even ask you this. I meant to the name of the band. Is there a story behind it, or is this like, let's be Perfect Animal, or did it come from two different things, or is there a story behind it?
It's really about the duality that exists inside everybody. Like, it's kind of like, yin and yang, and it's like yin and yang. Humans, on whatever issue it is, like you have an internal conflict on pretty much anything, and like the balancing act that exists internally, and the result of that balancing act is what kind of drives your decision making.
Yeah.
And so Perfect Animal is kind of like, animalistic, instinctual, irrational versus like rational perfectionism or whatever. It's kind of like, it exemplifies that internal conflict and that dichotomy, I guess.
No,
and it kind of just allows you, it just kind of allows for whatever your imagination wants. I don't know. It's not very confining or restricting in terms of genre or feel or anything. So
very cool.
I think it's catchy too.
Yeah,
it is catchy. Oh, absolutely. It's a great conversation topic to get people going.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great talking to you guys, and I'm sorry we missed the other two, but hopefully they'll catch this, and we would love to have you back on the show.
We would love to, Jay. I really do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. It's been really nice conversation. We've enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
We have too, and enjoy the intro and outro on this. You're going to be listening to Warm Twin Bed, and more music coming from Perfect Animal. Thank you guys so much. Have a super evening, all right?
Thanks, Jay. You too.
All right. Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.
just the same way that I remember breathing a dirty magazine, baby. The same flavor as a menthol, man. I guess it's only what you need. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess it feels like middle November. Oh, when you smell like burning leaves, baby. And we're laying in a warm twin bed. You know I really wanna be all of the things that you can remember. The way it feels to talk